Okay, real quick, let's take a look at that KD ratio. We are up to 1.933. We continue to have the ability to hit moving targets. Bot or human is irrelevant. The fact that I can hit something moving across the screen is a good sign. I'm not gonna, do much ranting. This is the one that a couple of you guys are really been waiting for. We're gonna talk about how to make money. Now, I may pause the video and have to splice things together if I forget something and I have to slice it back in. So please pardon the edits, but I'm going to try to get the information across. So we've talked about income taxes, and if you want to understand how the income tax system works, go back and rewatch my video on the income tax. The nickel tour is that if you pay income tax, you're just a regular Joe worker, and you have withholding, you basically buy everything on money that has already been taxed, right? So they get withholding, and then you get whatever's left in your check, right? The government takes its bite first. The other way is if you run a business, in which case you pay for everything first with tax-free dollars, and then you pay taxes on what's called the profit, which is everything that's left over at the end, right? So that's the nickel tour. If you want more detail into how that works, go back and watch the income tax rant. All right, so today I want to talk about a couple of things that you can do. I've done these. This works. There are other ideas that, if you guys want to hear more, maybe I can come up with some more. But the first thing that you can do and have no money at all and get this thing started is, first off, you don't have to create an LLC, a C Corp, or an S Corp. Again, go back and watch the income tax one if you want to know what those are. Usually you have to have an LLC so you can start a business and today, right? But you have to claim that as income. You are paying tax on that money, okay? If you want the tax advantages, you have to create the LLC. LegalZoom.com will create an LLC for you, but it's going to set you back about $600-700. So you may want to start small, start this this first business up, make the money to pay for the LLC, start taking those cash advantages, and then from there use the money. You keep saving it, and then use that money to start business number 2 that I'm going to get to later in this video. So the first idea is, there's a company online called Shopify. Okay, Shopify is like $39 a month. It's an online e-commerce site. First 3 months are like a penny, right? It gives you time to set things up. They give you 3 months to get your store set up. So Shopify is what you're going to use as your mechanism to sell. The second thing is that Shopify has an add-on called Printify. Printify allows you to create content, sayings, pictures, whatever, and have it put on shirts, hats, coffee cups, mouse pads, you name it. And it doesn't cost you anything to do this, right? So here's an idea. By the way, quit rear-ending me here. I don't know if you saw that. Come up with an idea. Come up with a saying. Come up with, I may do this for this channel, right? I may come up with Sea Bear and have AI create the picture, and then use a program like GIMP. I don't know if GIMP is like Photoshop. GIMP is graphic image manipulation program. It is a free software. You can go download it. It works on Windows. It works on Linux. It's almost as powerful as Photoshop and doesn't cost you anything. So get an image, have it created by AI, and put a saying on it, right? Upload those images to Printify, and then tell them what you would like it to be on: shirts, hats, coffee cups, mouse, whatever. And then and it'll walk you through all this. Then take those things and sell them through Shopify, through Shopify. So it doesn't cost you anything, right? When someone orders a shirt, Printify will print it and ship it, and then they will send you the profits through Shopify. Okay, so come up with a saying, a picture, something, put it up on Printify, sell it on Shopify. When someone buys it, you get paid, okay? The advertising's the hard part, right? So once you come up with this, put it up on Pinterest, put it up on Facebook, put it up on Twitter, right? Whatever. If it's good, people are going to go buy it, and you're going to start making money. And you don't even have to have an LLC or anything, right? Just an idea, and you don't even have to have artistic ability anymore, because AI will do it for you. Now, the second idea is in real estate, and this idea, it really turns a lot of people off, but it is a good, lucrative business, and that is, ready for it, mobile homes. Single wide mobile homes. Don't get into the double wides. You want single wide mobile homes. So here's how this works, and I have done this, and I'll even go over a couple of examples. First thing, you don't own a mobile home, right? You don't. You create a phone number through Google Voice. You put an ad in the paper. I used a Thrifty Nickel. It costs you $35. You put the ad in the Thrifty Nickel and you say, for sale, mobile home, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, owner financed, no credit checks, and you put that phone number down. That one ad will generate 40 to 50 phone calls, depending on where you live, of course. Where I live, I got 40 to 50 phone calls. So now I have 40 or 50 customers that are ready to buy a mobile home that I don't even own, but I have customers lined up in advance. I call the customers back and I say, I'm sorry, that one is sold, but I should have a new one soon. Where are you looking to buy? What part of town do you want to buy in? And where do you work? How much do you pay right now in rent? And once you get 3 or 4 that all want to go in the same area, go to that area, right? Get in your car, get on the bus, whatever. There's mobile homes, you got to find out where the mobile home parks are in your area. And yeah, people think, mobile homes are low income. It's whatever, right? The people there, are missing teeth, and there's some truth to that. But, once you go to these mobile homes, you find the mobile homes, drive through and you find a mobile home for sale. Now, I haven't done this in probably 15 years because, I was working in corporate America, and my wife wasn't comfortable in going into these parks and doing the wheeling and dealing, and I just didn't have the time for it. But I did do this about 5 times. So here's the long and short. I never paid more than $2,000 for a mobile home. The beautiful thing about a mobile home is that it is not considered to be a real estate by the state, right? It's on wheels, so it's considered a vehicle. So if someone doesn't pay you, then you can repossess it like a car rather than evict them and like a house. So it's easier to get them out if they're not paying. You don't have a lot of money invested. I had one, so anyway, so you go find this mobile home. They're driving around, right? They're going to be for sale. The people want cash up front because they got to buy, new teeth, or they need to get their car fixed or whatever, right? They need cash. So, it's $2,000 is what the average paid, and I already have a list of customers wanting it, right? So I have customers lined up ready to buy this thing. You want to do this about a week or 2 after the first of the month, so you don't get on the hook for lot rent, which is the mobile home parks. The guy who owns the dirt, he gets paid, called lot rent. So you want to do it about a week after the first, so the lot rent's been paid for the next 3 weeks. I never had a mobile home for longer than a week because I already had customers lined up before I went and found the mobile home. So then you get the mobile home people out. I usually bug bombed it to kill any cockroaches and vacuumed it, and I would sell it. I'd call the people up, okay, got a mobile home. By the way, I said 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I say that because that's the average. Sometimes you find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You might find 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Whatever you find, call the people up that you have waiting in line and talk to them about it. Now, the beautiful thing about mobile homes is right now the cost of rent is insane. I live in Georgia, and the rent is like, $2,000 for a 2-bedroom house. Well, if you can buy a mobile home for $500 a month and pay $500 a month for lot rent, you're only out $1,000, right? That's half the price, and actually that's pretty expensive. When I was doing it, I would buy a mobile home for $2,000. I would contact the people. They would come in. Somebody would find it. They go, yeah, I want it. So this is the deal, right? I want $500 down, and then I would charge, depending on if it's 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom condition. I usually got about $200 a month for 36 months. Do the math on, right? So they're like, hey, I can afford this, right? People think month to month. They don't think, terms and all this other stuff. So they're thinking, hey, I got to pay $200 a month for the mobile home. I'm buying it. You are not renting it. You don't want to be plunging toilets at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? You are selling this thing. The idea here is that you are the bank. You are you write up as a first lien holder on the title. The reason why you are the bank is that if they default, right? Because again, this is low income. If they default, you can seize your asset back going to the probate court. You can have a sheriff there in 7 days and seize it. You get the mobile home back, right? And the mobile the lot owner, the owner of the mobile home park, you are not on the hook for the rent if they default. You are the bank. You are not on the hook to pay that lot rent until you repossess the trailer, okay? So you're protected. And since you are the first lien holder on the title, if they default, you get the mobile home. It's not hard, right? And this is where there's details to this, and this is where I'll say maybe a paywall. I can give you all the details of contracts and how this is all done. But the long and short is, you put up, a for sale classified ad. You get a list of customers ready to buy. You then find the mobile home that they want to buy. You go buy the mobile home. You then sell the mobile home within a week because you call all the people that are waiting in line. You're out $2,000 initially. You get $500 as a down payment. So now you're only out $1,500. And then there are, you're selling it for $200 a month for 72 months. Or I'm sorry, for 36 months, which means you are now making $7,700 on a $2,000 investment. That's about 370% return on investment. That's pretty good. Okay, so here's a true story. This is my first deal that I ever did when this whole thing got cooked up. I put the ad in the paper. I got people calling me. I had one lady call me and said that she is looking for a mobile home in this area of town. I went in that area of town. I found a mobile home, and it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And I live in a house, right? I walk in this place. There's a hole dug in the floor near the door where their dog tried to dig their way out. It was raining, and a stream of water was coming in by the window. And one of the 2 bathrooms, the shower didn't work. And I'm sitting there going like, what a piece of shit, right? So, I told them, I said, they wanted, $4,000. I said, yeah, you're out of your mind. I'll give you 2. And they said, nope, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We know what it's worth. We want $4,000. And now these people, this is really shocking. They drove a nice car. The wife had a brand spanking new iPhone and had a Coach purse. And they lived in this mobile home with holes in it. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm not doing it. So I went back and I called the person, the buyer, right? And I said, look, I found a mobile home. You really don't want it. And I said, this is what's going on. She goes, no, I want to see it. I said, well, how much are you willing to pay? She goes, I'll pay $5,000 for it. But I said, you haven't seen it. She goes, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home, and I'm willing to give $5,000 for it. I said, okay, well, hold on. So I called back the people who had the mobile home, and I said, look, I got a buyer that's willing to buy your home as is for $5,000. You want $4,000. I will broker the deal for you for $1,000, right? I'm bringing the chocolate, you got the peanut butter, we're going to put them together and make a deal. They agreed to it, okay? So I contacted a lady, we arranged a meeting, we went to the mobile home, she looked at it, she said, I'll take it. She laid $5,000 out on the counter. They signed the contracts to sell. We went out on the porch. The mobile home owner who was selling handed me $1,000 in cash, and I walked away. That deal took me all of about 2 hours to put together, and I made $1,000 off from a $35 ad in the paper. I then took that $1,000 and I went to, a different mobile home park, and I found one mobile home that was for sale. The couple wanted $2,000 for it. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I turned around and sold that one in a week for $200 a month, right? For 3 years. That's $7,200 plus the $500 down. So if we look at I got $1,000 off the first deal and I got a $500 down payment. I now have a mobile home that is generating $200 a month for a $500 investment, right? I was free and clear in 3 months, which meant I then collected 33 months, right? $6,600 of free money. It's called mailbox money, right? So this is how you can get into real estate. Now think about this. Now I haven't looked at mobile homes recently. I'm not sure what the current prices are, but these are what I was dealing with at the time. How many of these deals would you have to do before you could quit your job? If you got $200 a month coming in for 3 years off from one deal, and you need, let's say you want, I don't know, what, $48,000 a year. Let's say $48,000. So you need $4,000 a month, right? $4,000 a month. You need 20 of these deals. 20 of these deals, and you don't have to work, right? It's just some effort, and it starts paying for itself. And remember, like if think about it like this, right? You buy a mobile home for $2,000, you get $500 down. You're only out $1,500. You're getting paid $200 a month. You are free and clear in 7 months. You have 29 months of free money. If they default, the contract said if you don't pay me by the 7th, I will confiscate your home on the 14th, right? I was very strict, and you have to be with these people. So you repossess the home on the 14th. You already, you keep this system running, right? You have buyers lined up. You turn around and flip it by the 21st. Now, after 7 months, this mobile home is now 100% free. The other guy paid for it. Are you hearing me? So you repossess it, you get a free mobile home that you turn around and then sell for $200 a month. It works. It worked extremely well. I made money hand over fist at this, right? The problem was that I was only one person and my wife didn't want to help me. In fact, I'm talking to her right now that I'm thinking about getting back into this business, since I'm semi-retired. Because it works. Look, especially in this economy, people cannot afford to buy a $300,000 house, but they can't even afford lot rent without roommates, or not lot rent. They can't afford mobile or apartments because, like I said, where I'm living, it's like $1,800, $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom. So here's mobile homes that are like a fraction of that, and they actually have ownership. Now, the reason why this also works, let's touch on this. No bank in existence will refinance a used mobile home. They just won't. So you stepping up as the bank is a needed utility, if you will, for this community. They need money, and they're willing to, they need money now to sell, and they need and they don't have any money to buy. So then they're willing to finance, and they're willing to pay by the month, and the banks are unwilling to help them. So you're not going to own it, you're not going to rent it, you're not going to lease it. You are the bank, and you are the primary lien holder on the title. Okay, and this little system works. It works extremely well. Now, if I have all the contracts, I've written all the contracts, I've tested all these contracts, it all works, but it's way too much for me to put into a video with Battlefield 6 playing in the background. I mean, we're talking, I'm going to have, anybody who wants this kind of information, I'm going to have to set up, PowerPoints and everything else to try to explain the details of it, but these ideas work. And there's a book out there, if you can find it, it's called Deal on Wheels by Lonnie Scruggs. Now, Lonnie died a few years ago, and his wife basically pulled everything, right? The copyrights, everything is lapsed. She wants nothing more to do with it. The LLCs he's created have all collapsed. But if you can get your hands on that book, that actually has sample contracts and stuff in it, and numbers, and I got a lot of the ideas from that book, and it'll help you walk through it. But so those are the ideas, right? You got Shopify and Printify. It doesn't cost you anything to get started. Get an LLC created so you can start getting those tax write-offs we talked about on the income tax, and get into the mobile homes. And once you get into mobile homes, at some point you can start moving into houses and then start moving into commercial properties. Because, look, Trump didn't get to be a billionaire by selling, hot dogs on the street corner, right? He buys land. The land is worth money. It goes up in value. He gets paid rent, right? Or he or he's acting as the hard money lender, which is what you're going to be for mobile homes, hard money lender, right? That's what it's called. And it works. And these are some ideas that you can use to get a business started. Especially the guy that's working in a warehouse that's struggling to get out. Dude, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot have a Shopify set up and some T-shirts and some hats done, and have them up for sale by the weekend if you put your mind to it. I mean, come up with something like, you got the MAGA crowd, man. They eat that stuff up, right? You got the anti-MAGA crowd, right? Do some stuff for that. It doesn't matter where your passions lie, right? Do something that's popular. Do something for Battlefield. Here's an idea. Come up with some. Go to these. Go reach out to some of the YouTube influencers and say, hey, you'll put together a shirt and a hat or whatever that they want to sell, and sell it for them, and then you take 40% of the profits, right? Because you're doing the work. And you could probably get some influencers that have no idea how to do this, and start generating money, right? Some of these influencers are kids; they don't know how to get shirts put together, and well, you do now, right? And so there's some customers. Start thinking about how can you get shirts and hats and this stuff done. Now, you're not going to go to corporate America and go, hey, I'm going to print your shirts, Mr. IBM. But you can get the small guy, or come up with your own and then advertise it and start making money. And then don't spend that money on your emotional support lattes. Put it together, get an LLC founded, and move into business that will create you mailbox money, where you can just sit back and go to the mailbox every day and you have a check. You do one deal and you get paid 36 times. Think about that. You do one deal and get paid 36 times. 37 if you count the initial $500 down. Okay, so I'm way long again. I'm back 20, 23, 24 minutes. Put comments below. I will answer the best I can. If you want copies of my contract, we'll have to work something out. But it works. These are some ideas. If you want more ideas, I can come up with some more. So I'm coming up on the third rotation. I hope this is helpful. I hope you guys, found it useful. I hope it helps you get out of the situation you're in and start moving up the ladder to something better. And with that said, this is Sea Bear out.